Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to Team TrustyTots. Meet Nene, a 32-year-old full-time nurse and single mom who balances long hospital shifts with taking care of her 3-year-old son, Kai. One evening, she gets an urgent call to cover a night shift. Nene's excited because she needs the extra money to pay for her son's upcoming birthday party, and this shift will be overtime pay, which is 50% higher than a normal wage. However, with daycares closed and her mom unavailable, Nene soon realizes that she has no one to watch her son. Nene goes from excited to overwhelmed. I guess she'll just have to tell her job that she's unable to take the shift. Or will she? There are many other parents that are in need in urgent childcare on short notice like Nene. But hey, don't take my word for it. Here's some real screenshots of other parents looking for help. This problem not only exists in these screenshots, but also in real life, as we discovered in our research. Over the past 9 weeks, this team has been working tirelessly to provide a solution for parents like Nene. Ladies and gentlemen, what we bring to you is Trusty Tots. Watch as Nene explores the platform.
Next, Nene urgently needs a babysitter, so she visits TrustyTots website and scrolls to learn more. She discovers a valuable feature, the ability to search and find nearby caregivers without creating an account. Assuming Nene has already created an account, now she'll proceed to log in. On her dashboard, Nene sees useful metrics and can update her child's profile. She clicks on Find a Caregiver, and here she can either drop off her child at daycare or have a babysitter come over to her place. She'll go for the latter option in this case. Next, Nene will enter her address, select a child, date, time, and duration. Once she's done, she clicks on Search, and from the search results, she can select up to 3 babysitters and send requests. If payment details are valid, the request is sent through. On this caregiver dashboard, TJ, a babysitter, sees an incoming request and can view the details, can also accept or decline. So TJ will proceed to accept the request. Once the request is accepted, the parent is notified of a confirmed booking. Now the parent views the booking. The parent can see TJ and is able to message them if they want to. Assuming it's time for babysitting session, the babysitter sees a GPS tracking notification to confirm their arrival. This is to purposefully track their timesheet. So the babysitter confirms that they've arrived, and then the parent is notified of babysitter's check-in time. The parent can confirm or dispute. The parent will go ahead and confirm. Assuming it's time for baby session completion, the babysitter is also notified again, and they can accept with a yes or say no. So let's say they are done, they'll click a yes. Once again, the parent is notified of the checkout time, and they can confirm or dispute the time. Right after the service completion, Nene is presented with a ratings and review screen where she can leave a rating for TJ, the babysitter. Great job, Nene.
So why should parents use Trusty Tots? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here are 3 quick reasons. 1, get instant childcare. Trusted last-minute childcare for kids under 13 years. Effortless find. You can filter by location, ratings, and availability. And it's trusted and secure. Our children are near and dear to our hearts. We have vetted caregivers and GPS timesheets to give parents peace of mind. Here are a look at some of our core features. I would just like to highlight our finding and booking feature, which is our bread and butter.
Okay, so in the early stages of this process, we conducted our research to find out the viability of this product and if there was a need for it. Here we compared TrustyTots to some of the major players in this space, and we're able to identify areas or lapses that would give us an edge. Next, we conducted our market analysis using a test city, Kitchener. With a population of around 300,000 people, our research from our research, we were able to discover that about 19,000 of that number needed caregiver services in some way or the other. And of that amount, using the barest minimum of that number, we came up with about 795 users that could be obtained from that number, with an increase in that number to about 1,095 users in the third year. Finally, our cost benefit analysis for the MVP, our research, and from our research, our revenue stream, just like platforms like Uber, Lyft, and all other platforms, is simply commission on booking of 15% for every completed booking. In later iterations, we're looking at revenue streams of things like partnerships and product sponsorships. But for now, we're focusing on the MVP. The cost benefit analysis, which was expanded to all of Canada in this case, showed a potential return on investment of about 462% in just 5 years. Our break-even point coming in at just the second year, and a potential net benefit of 11.5 million. Yes, 11.5 million after 5 years. With a Canadian population of about 38 million people, we believe this is possible. Thank you.
And now moving on to our roadmap. For our MVP launch, we'll focus on the instant childcare access. Over here, we're going to track metrics such as monthly active bookings and repeat bookings. Repeat bookings because with the kind of business model that we have, when parents meet child caregivers off the platform, they are likely to continue without us. No, we are not leaving money on the table. In further versions, we deliver security enhancement, extended booking timeframes, and national expansion. For our go-to-market strategy, we're starting with Kitchener. We expect that parents will hear about TrustyTots word of mouth through influencer ads. They'll take interest in our webinars and Q&A. They'll participate in live demo, searching and booking, and get first booking discount. Again, we expect them to sign up and complete bookings. Well, look who is happy now. Nesnene is finally happy. She got that over time. As parents, we have created TrustyTots with so much love, care, and empathy. A service we trust for our very own families. Now I urge you all to take your phone and scan this QR code to join our waiting list and get early access discount. Thank you so much.
All right, let's give him a round of applause. And I see a lot of energy, lots of great comments in the chat. Thank you all so much for the energy and keep that up. You know, I think these guys built this thing in about 6.5 weeks and not 9 weeks. Because correct me if I'm wrong, the first 2 weeks, you had a whole different idea. Remind me what the first idea was.
Dami?
Pardon me?
Well, the first idea, I'm not sure about the first idea because I wasn't part of the group at that point. But around the 10th, a week and a half into the process, I was approached and we came up with the TrustyTots platform, and that's when we actually started our development on TrustyTots. Yeah.
And I was trying to make the point that in the first week and a half, they had a different idea. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Mo, the idea was using AI in construction, utilizing AI in like building an AI planning, and we're trying to figure out where to use that. So
like an AI tool for project management planning.
yes.
They chose not to go with that because it wasn't the real problem. It wasn't as viable, as feasible in the 9 weeks. So I just wanted to point out, first of all, that sometimes it's totally okay if we see an idea is not working, we pivot. But to see them pivot so quickly and get here in the shorter amount of time, so really in 6.5 weeks to do it is remarkable. So another great show of resilience, grit, focused on the user and the problem versus being married to an idea that you have that may not be need for in the market. So good job to them. Shout out to you.
Thank you.
I'm a parent myself. You know, it's especially in Canada, our son was on the wait list for daycare for 2 years, and finding a nanny was a hassle. So kudos to the team. I think this time we'll start feedback with Esther, and then we'll go to Jerome and then Andre.
Okay. I wish I knew this product 13 years ago. I'm exactly in the same boat as Mo. I had to bring my parents in because I didn't have this. So it was so amazing. It's mind-blowing. I just have one question because that was the problem I had 13 years ago when I had my daughter. I just couldn't find trustable nannies. So where do you pull this information from? Like, how do I know when I go to your app, the stuff that I'm seeing is reliable? That's the first thing. But where do you get this information from?
Okay,
How
I'll
you-
answer this question. So we would have vetted caregivers on our platform. Because this is the MVP, we don't have like an active verification tool, but that will be delivered in future versions where we have instant background checker. So for the first one, which is MVP, we're going to work with already registered pool of qualified child caregivers or qualified caregivers, like those who are certified nursing assistants. So those are the people that we're bringing onto the platform. What we'll have to do is to make sure that their certifications are not expired. So that's what we are doing for the MVP version.
Okay, got it. Perfect. I'm good.
Awesome. If you answer another question, Manuela, we can't see you. It'd be great to see you while you answer. Then let's go to I forgot who I called. I think it was Jerome next or
Yeah, I was actually just about to call out Emanuela. We want to see your face always, always, always. Um, my question comes back to our children are our most sacred possession, right? So I think of this application as being like the Uber of, I don't know, babysitting or childcare, right? So with the Uber, with all of these new applications coming to fruition, liability is always a concern. So I saw some comments in the chat that I thought were really, really good around vetting process. So police checks, child abuse checks, first aid, CPR, childcare experience and education. So what do we do around liability? So what happens if I use the TrustyTot application and something happens to my child, right? Like what's the liability situation around if anything happens?
All right, for the mitigation strategy for that, we'll work with legal personnel to help educate our caregivers on how to handle that. So the liability is solely the responsibility of the caregiver. So we make sure that during the onboarding phase, we educate them extensively on that. So we expect them to have liability insurance to cover for that. But in the case they don't have and we have mishaps, then that's where our legal team that are on board with us, we work with us to resolve that.
Thanks. Yeah, I think in the end, insurance is the key thing to cover yourselves, whether the professionals themselves have their own insurance or you have group coverage for anyone who's on your platform where you then charge them for that. I recently had to work with CAA to tow my car, and I had to have my own insurance for them to tow my car. Otherwise, I'd have to buy their insurance. So as long as we have the insurance covered up, it should be a viable business to protect the business. Fantastic questions from the chat and from Jerome. And we'll finish up with Andre.
Yeah, awesome platform. Like I love it. I love the name. And I love the suggestion that you just gave more about the group coverage, because I was thinking about Airbnb and how they have like a group coverage called Air Cover that people can opt into. I think going back to that, becoming that Uber and becoming sort of like the Airbnb of childcare, how do you build trust? Because like when you look at platforms like Airbnb, that was one of their biggest struggle when they started out, and it's something that they had to overcome. So how do you go about building trust among parents? Because just like Jerome said, like kids are our most sacred possession, and we're all here like speaking mostly from a parent experience. I'm a parent myself, and the idea of like just getting a random person to come into my house to look after my kids doesn't sit well with me.
Thanks for that question. So in the demo, we showed where, assuming the babysitter arrived at the destination, so our GPS timesheet tracker is going to want to know, hey, have you arrived? But most importantly, it's going to notify the parents. And if you look closely to our notifications, at certain points, we tell the parent, make sure to check ID or image of the person and validate with what's posted on the platform. So I don't know if one of my project managers can pull that up on the video. So we have that. So we tried so much to incorporate all these safety warnings within our app.
And just to add to that, we also operate with a review process, and our vetting process is also going to be very, very stringent. We're going to pay close attention to every detail that we can get, but we're going to also rely on vetting process and other information that we can get from people who have maybe used that babysitter or gone to that daycare center and things like that, just to build up a profile for each individual sitter. Yes.
Okay. And then just the time, we're going to pause here and end round one. That was a fire round one. Would you agree? Fantastic. Just to add one more thing about TrustyTots, I just thought about is how it's sticky. I remember I used Care.com to find our nanny today. She's done well, but I don't use the platform anymore. And I think what TrustyTots did was having check-in where the nanny can check in, they can use that for billing. It makes the platform more sticky so you can keep using it. So I thought that was pretty